Hey, Shalom. First, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, the house of David. Let's get into this. This is going to be about, letting go, letting go. You got to let things go. You got to let things go. Because sometimes things can weigh you down and you don't need that type of weight or stress on you. That letting things go, it can be relationships, situations, goals. Not saying giving up your dream or giving up on this goal you set for yourself. But like these, not all type of goals, but like these weird goals, these goals that you have that is connected to this world and has a benefit of this world continuing, for lack of better words. You gotta let these things go because they'll put a weight on you and they'll make you depressed. Sometimes you gotta learn to let go of relationships. Relationships that can be with your family, your friends, people close to you. Or let go, or letting go whatever the situation you have with them. You gotta let that go. Scriptures tell us not to hold grudges and stuff. But this is more about letting go situations. Don't be loyal to a job that treats you less than a human being. Don't be loyal to a job that treats you less than a human being. Let that go. Don't be loyal to a situation that treats you less as a human being. You gotta let that go. You gotta let these things go because it can be a burden to you. It can be a burden to you constantly carrying it. We gotta press towards the mark. We gotta press towards Yahweh Shai. You might be angry at something that happened in the past, like in your childhood or in your teens or whatever. You constantly looking back on it. You constantly getting depressed. Nah, let that go. Let that go. You think about stuff that's already been done and you can't change it. Already happened. You don't have the power to turn back time. You do not have a time chamber. You do not have a time machine. Let it go. Let it go. That business venture you tried and it failed and you depressed about that, let it go and find something else to do. Let that go and find something else to do. That might not be in your avenue. Now I'm not saying, give up on the first, second, and third try, Nah, try your hand at it. See if it flips. If it don't flip, move on. Move on. And when it comes to relationships and stuff like that, we're gonna get some scriptures on that. Let's get it. This is all. Here you go. This is Ephesians 4 and verse 31. Listen. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be ye kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Yahweh for Hamashiach's sake hath forgiven you. You know, that's this is the most part about, having grudges or being angry with somebody. But you know, I want to apply this to situations that's happened in your past, your childhood, your trauma, or maybe something with your job, maybe something with your family, a situation with your family. You gotta let it go. You gotta let that thing go. But also, as the scripture is talking about, if you have something like that with your brother and your sisters, you gotta let that go. He's saying, be ye kind and tender-hearted and forgiving one another, even as Hamashiach, even as Yahweh for your Hamashiach say forgiving you. Now, I'm not saying you don't have no emotions. Everybody has emotion, even men. Even men have emotion. If we didn't, men wouldn't get jealous over women. Men wouldn't be bitter over women, or get angry at all. We wouldn't even have the law. We wouldn't even have the law if men didn't get emotional. There'll be no law. Because what? If men didn't have emotions, what happened? Now what happened? Oh, you killed my brother? Okay. Oh, you slept with my wife? Okay. Oh, they coming to take over us? Oh, okay. Nah, you see, the problem is being over emotional. It's okay to be angry. What's that scripture said? Be angry but sin not. Roughly paraphrasing, you can be angry but don't sin. Don't make that anger cause you to sin against your mother, your father, because scripture says honor thy mother and father. Your brother, your sister. Your coworker, especially your coworker. Somewhat backing off my other lesson. We gotta have integrity. You gotta be slow to wrath. Slow to anger, slow to wrath. Sometimes you gotta let that stuff. You gotta embrace it, and I don't mean in that macho masculine stuff. Nah, what I mean by embrace it. You have to allow it to take hold of you. Take hold of you, embrace it, and let it go. I think it's a lot of stuff you can learn from books and stuff like that. You can take away, as the saying goes, chew the meats and spit out the bones. I guess this book is a sci-fi fantasy book they made into a movie. It's called Dune, and it has a saying. I'm gonna repeat it. I'm gonna give it to you here, as best as I can remember it. It says, there is no fear. I think, hold on. Now, no pain or something. He said, once the fear and pain has gone, all that will remain will be me. After the fear and pain is gone, all that will remain will be me. And that's true. Think about all the situations you went through. Guess what? You're still here. Where you remain you. You're still here. You might have learned. You might have learned a few things. Got some experience and got some understanding. But what? You still remain. After all the bad situations you went through, what? You still remained. Let that anger pass you. Let wrath pass you. Let that situation pass. You know? It's okay to embrace it. It's okay to feel it. That's a better word for it. It's okay to feel it. That's what I mean by embracing. It's okay to feel it. It's okay to feel that anger. It's okay to feel that joy. It's okay to feel that love. It's okay to feel that sadness. You know? Embrace it. Feel it. But let it pass. You know? Let it pass. You know? You know, let's get this. Since it's the spirit wanna I guess talk about a person. You know. Oh, and I had guessing because I had read this, and I was like, it's some people that don't have an understanding about this scripture. It's something Esau Edom has done to confuse the masses. But we're finna get this first. I'm gonna go to that, and I'm gonna go to that. This is Ecclesiasticus. Oh man. Oh yeah, Ecclesiasticus 28. Oh, we're gonna get verse 2. Start from verse 2. Listen. Forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he have done unto thee. So shall thy sins also be forgiven when thou prayest. One man beareth hatred against another, and thus he seek pardon from the Lord. He showed no mercy to a man which is like himself. Well, we all fall short of the grace of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. If you offended one, guess what? You offended in all. You know? He showed no mercy to a man which is like himself, and does he ask for forgiveness of his own sins? If he that is but flesh nourish hatred, who will entreat for pardon of his sins? Remember thy end, and let not enmity cease. Remember thy end, and let enmity cease. Remember corruption and death, and abide in the commandments. Remember the commandments. Why we should remember the commandments? Because what? The keeping of the commandments is the love of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Because if I love that sister, if I love that brother, I'm not gonna think about hurting them, committing adultery against them, stealing from them, bearing false witness against them. You know. You ain't gonna be lying on your wife. You ain't gonna be trying to set your wife up for failure. Remember thy end. Remember the commandments, and bear no malice to thy neighbor. Remember the covenant of the highest and walk. Remember the covenant of the highest and wink at ignorance. And I know Christians like to use you know what, I'm gonna get it because what Christians like to use, like, who's my neighbor? We gotta be right with everybody. This applies to everybody. Who's your neighbor? Who is your neighbor? Let's get that. Cause there was a parable Yahweh gave. Oh man, was it Matthew or Luke? Let me see. Salah. I think it's Luke. Yeah, it was Luke. It's Luke chapter 10. We're gonna let's see. I know it's yeah. We'll start at verse 20. Wait, probably read up. Yeah, we're gonna read up. We'll start verse 26. Listen, this is Luke chapter 10, verse 26. He said unto him, what is written in the law? How readest thou? And he answered, saying, thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy strength, and with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself. You hear that? And thy neighbor as thyself. Who was thy neighbor? Hold on. We're going to go into it. It's going to talk about it. And he said unto him, thou hast answered right. This do, and thou shalt live. But he, willing to justify himself, said unto Yahushua, and who is my neighbor? Who is your neighbor? Who is your neighbor? Because Christians and the rest of the world love to use this. We're gonna really get into that. Listen, Yahushua answered and said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves. Bro got jumped, which stripped him of his raiment and wounded him and departed, leaving him half dead. And by chance there came down a certain priest that way, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. Verse 32. And likewise a Levite, when he was at the place, came and looked on him, and passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he sojourned, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion on him, and he went to him and bound up his wounds, poured in oil and wine, and set him on his own beast, and brought him to an inn, and took care of him. And on the morrow, when he departed, he took out 2 pence, and he gave them to the host, and said unto him, take care of him, and whatsoever thou spendest more, when I come again, I will repay thee. Which of these 3 thinkest thou was neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves? And he said, he that showed mercy on him. Then Yahushua said unto him, go and do thou likewise. Now Christians like to say, see, they'll be like, yeah, Edomite is your neighbor, a Moabite is your neighbor. I mean, there's a Chinese your neighbor, a Japanese your neighbor, a German is your neighbor. A Japanese your neighbor, a West Indian your neighbor, so on and so forth, But we know that this book was written to and for Israelites, But I'm not just going to say that. We're going to get this. Listen, this is something I pulled up. Listen, look. This is a map of Israel and Judah. Now you seeing that gray part? You see what that gray part? You see it? I'm gonna zoom in. Samaria. The Samaritans were who? Israelites. You see, Esau Edom has taken the word Samaritan and placed it on everybody. No, the Samaritan was Israelites. It was a group of Israelites, that dwelt in Samaria. They called them Samaritans, just like today. Or how people from Alabama are called Alabamians, and Mississippi are called Mississippians. People in Pittsburgh are called I forget what they call themselves. But everybody from a different city, from a different state, call themselves by their states. You see, same in the ancient days. Just like in the Nazareth, we all know that Nazareth was in Israel. So what? He from Nazareth? Oh, he's a Nazarene. But what? He is what? An Israelite, a Hebrew Israelite. This is not talking a Samaritan being a good Samaritan, as they say in this word. It's not talking about everybody. No, the Samaritans were from Samaria. And they said Samaria was like a pretty bad place. In Israel. So, people, had a certain, had a certain, like, look on them, you know. That's why he brought the Samaritan, because the Samaritan was I'm just saying, giving an example of my limited knowledge, that Samaritan, I'm gonna just say, like, Samaritan was kind of like the ghetto. And and people all them people there was like bad, but in this parable, one of the Samaritans, one of these so-called bad people, was more of a neighbor than that priest and then that Levite, those who are known for what? Being the strictest, being the upholders of the law. You know? But yeah. Okay, I had one to explain that. When we said, show that kind of love to your neighbor. It's still talking about Israelites. It ain't talking about loving your enemy. Loving your enemy. We do know scripture talking about that, but that's talking about someone you have a feud with inside of Israel. Not Esau, Edom. Not Ammon, Moab, and the rest of them. You might have some cool people. You might have true wives from there. That's cool, but this is not talking about them, because these scriptures are not for them. These scriptures are for and to Israelites. Now, to get back on topic, I think I had one more scripture. This Philippians chapter 3 verse let me see if I still want this. Yeah. Listen to this. This is Philippians chapter 3 verse 13. Listen, brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto the things which are before. Let go of your past. Let go of your past. Let go of the things of your past. Let go of that past trauma, that past hurt, that past upset, that past failure. And push towards Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Push towards them. Be like, I that didn't achieve, that didn't go well, but I'm gonna go towards Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and I'm gonna pray that He helps me. I'm gonna pray that He helps me on this venture, on this relationship, on this move and on that move, Verse 14, I press towards the mark for the prize of the high calling of Yahweh and Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. Pressing towards the mark, keep what? Keep that integrity, keep that well-doing, keep moving forward, And with that, I hope you was edified. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, the house of David. Until next time, Yahweh willing, Shalom.